answer is yes, cider is definitely fast fashion. It's overconsumption central, it's a greenwashing city, and there's a little bit of ripping off independent designers thrown in there as well to top it all off. Plus there's like a low-key packaging scandal going on too. But they are actually doing one thing way better than any other fast fashion brand I've seen, which really surprised me, and I'm sure it will surprise you too. To find out what it is, I guess you just have to keep watching. I'm Shara from the Green Stocking Society, and today we're diving into the good, the bad, and the ugly, but let's face it, mostly the bad and the ugly when it comes to talking about this massive fashion brand that has been skyrocketed to success through social media, CIDER. A friend of mine requested that I review this particular brand because at first they thought that they were actually quite ethical until they did some digging, and that sounds like exactly the kind of greenwashing that I just cannot stay away from researching. So I went straight to their website, their sustainability page, and did a bunch of Googling to really investigate what's going on with this brand. So grab a beverage of choice and let's spill the cider. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of cider-based puns throughout this video, but you will find each and every single one of them refreshing. Let's go. Disclaimer before we start, no, I am not shaming anyone who shops from cider or from similar brands. If that's what your budget allows for, then you know, you gotta wear clothes, so you do what you gotta do. If your budget allows for a bit more, then I hope that this video will offer some explanation as to why you probably want to take that hard-earned cash money elsewhere. And I strongly encourage you to do that. But ultimately, here I'm critiquing cider, the brand in particular, and fast fashion as an industry and as a culture, as a social phenomenon. So cider is a brand based in China. It was founded in 2020, but then it's gained 4.3 million likes on TikTok plus 4.4 million Instagram followers already, thanks to primarily this orange jumper that went absolutely viral. Their rapid rise to social media fame has meant that they've been widely compared to Shein, which is, by the way, just never a good sign when it comes to sustainability and ethics. They have a very similar model of releasing hundreds of new designs every single week in very small batches, but we'll get to that in just a second. So the cider tagline is, "We make everyday statement pieces for everyone, everywhere." And they claim to be a social first fashion brand, like whatever that means. I have to admit the clothes are really cute, they're very like hashtag Instagrammable, but there is a reason, actually there's a lot of reasons why the ethical rating app Good On You has rated them a 1 out of 5. We avoid. Firstly, we need to talk about their production model. They use something they're calling smart fashion, which is apparently using customer data to be able to tell what customers are going to want so that they don't overproduce and so that they avoid waste. But there's actually very little information about how all of this works and how data-led it actually is, and also how much waste they are able to save by doing this. And let's be clear here, smart fashion is not made to order, which is slow fashion. So made to order means that after you've ordered a piece of clothing, someone is making that for you, and usually to your specific measurements, so that there's no speculative production and therefore there's a lot of waste that's eliminated. Plus, they claim to produce these designs in-house on demand, but they have been accused of actually just drop shipping a bunch of these designs because they have been appearing, like the exact same pieces have been appearing on other sites like AliExpress. For example, this 13 going on 30 dress, which is part of a whole other story that I will come back to in a little bit. Regardless of this smart fashion model, they are still releasing hundreds of different designs every single week, which is encouraging overconsumption and impulse buying, especially because on their website you can filter by the mood that you're in. I don't know about you, but shopping based on your mood does not seem like the best way to find pieces that you're going to love and wear for decades. Secondly, we need to talk about their sustainability claims, because obviously as sustainability is becoming more and more important to customers, every brand is suddenly talking about sustainability. So Cue the greenwashing. They do have their sustainability page linked in their menu on their website, which gives them one extra bonus point. However, they don't really use it to educate their customers at all. They don't really talk about their materials, why they use the materials that they use, which are, by the way, mostly polyester, which is made from oil, so fossil fuels, and it also does not biodegrade. They do say some stuff about water usage and chemicals, so they say, we are working closely with our suppliers and conducting checks and evaluations to ensure that any chemical substances released comply with our environmental standards. But we don't actually know what those standards are or why they wouldn't opt to get a universally recognised accreditation like Ecotech Standard 100. They definitely would have the money to be able to pay for a certification like that. But we need receipts, okay? We need a third party to verify that these claims are true. Other than that, they don't seem to have any other accreditations or certifications that you might see from other sustainable brands such as GOTS certified organic or carbon neutral or being a living wage employer, for example. They focus their comms instead on accessibility. So they write that sustainable fashion should be accessible, not exclusive. That's why we're on a mission to create affordable everyday statement pieces with sustainability in mind. But this kind of messaging just justifies why their prices are so low in the name of accessibility, when actually it's because they're not paying their garment workers enough, or they're not using the right materials, which cost a little bit more if they're sustainably made, and they're also not opting for things like renewable energy or paying for those accreditations that we mentioned earlier. But when you look at their About Us page, it becomes really obvious that even though they're trying to convince you that they do care about people and the planet, it's just an afterthought, because when you look at their timeline of from when the brand was founded to now, they've only just released their first sustainable collection in 2022, so 2 years after the launch of the brand, as well as their biodegradable packaging, which we'll get onto in just a second. Sustainability has been basically like added onto the brand rather than it being a core pillar that the brand was built on. As for this recycled cider collection, they've made it using recycled materials, which is a phrase that I am really beginning to despise, because recycled materials could mean recycled polyester, it could also mean recycled cotton, it could also mean recycled wool, and those materials are not the same in terms of sustainability at all. And so when brands use the more vague word of just materials to cover all of those particular options, it's because they are trying to hide the fact that actually it's still polyester. The collection is at least Global Recycled Standards certified, but it does seem like an opportunity just for them to continue making virgin polyester clothes and mix in a little bit of that recycled polyester. So this dress, for example, is 68% recycled polyester and only 32% recycled polyester, but it's still in their recycled collection because it's technically still got that recycled material. They also say in their informational pop-ups why recycled cotton is better than organic cotton, which is funny because I really struggled to find anything in their recycled collection that was made from recycled cotton and not like recycled polyester. And also I don't think that they actually sell any organic cotton either. Not to mention the fact that they only have 120 pieces in this collection compared to the thousands of other products that they have in the rest of their site. And furthermore, they say nothing about circularity, even though it is definitely becoming more of a buzzword. There's no end-of-life solution for their products. They don't talk about where customers should send their products when they are done with them and when they're worn out. One final point around materials is animal welfare. They don't use leather or any other animal-derived materials like fur, but they do use wool, and they don't disclose the manufacturing process behind that, which can be rife with animal welfare violations. On a side note, just on that, a material is not automatically made worse by being animal derived. So for example, Sheep Inc. makes carbon negative merino wool products using regenerative and sustainable farming methods, and that's great. On to the third slice of this apple cider pie. Okay, I'm struggling with the cider puns a little bit, but just bear with me because we have to talk about manufacturers and transparency. Now, when I was Googling all of this stuff, I found two really useful articles by The Imperfect Idealist and Your Sustainable Guide, where they were talking about the fact that cider doesn't disclose any information about their manufacturers or about the factories where the clothes are made, but those articles were written in December 2022 and February 2023 respectively, and now when you go on the cider website, there there is actually quite a lot of information about their manufacturers. They now say, we require all our suppliers and factories to adhere to CIDER's zero tolerance policy and to ensure these conditions are addressed. They list health and safety, child labour, etc. under those conditions. Plus they say, we also require our factories to be registered with industry-leading standards such as SMEAT and SEDEX. This ensures that they are regularly audited. Then they have information about 3 different suppliers and how many people work at those factories, as well as their ethical accreditations. Now, despite everything that I've said about CIDER up until this point, this is something that I did not expect from them at all. It's not something that fast fashion brands are very good at all. So the fact that they have been able to trace and then also be transparent about this stuff is really, really great. Imagine that! They're actually doing something kind of right. But let's not get too positive. I hinted earlier at a messy situation with their packaging, which they are claiming is biodegradable. So they say that all the new products produced after December 2022 are packed with our D2W biodegradable bags. The D2W technology transforms regular plastic into a biodegradable material via a process in which it undergoes a change in molecular structure when exposed to oxygen. The end result is a substance that can be broken down by bacteria and fungi in the natural environment much more quickly than traditional plastic biodegradable bags. Now, I was not aware of this before I read it, but it did not take a lot of research to find out that this technology is actually incredibly contentious. A 2011 research study said that apparently these bags will biodegrade when buried in soil in 2 years, but since then a lot of other researchers have come out and said that this is literally just wildly inaccurate. When the EU Commission examined this packaging in 2018, they found no evidence of these biodegradability claims, leading to the EU government actually saying to the EU Commission that they should ban it and also ban the use of the word biodegradable being associated with these products. One European Green Party MP actually went as far as to say that marketing this plastic as an environmentally friendly alternative is, I quote, absurd, and she said that if you ever see anything that says it's oxo-biodegradable to burn it. So paper packaging or compostable packaging would be so much better. As we arrive at point number 5, we see that they are, you know, ripping off independent designers and making the same clothes but a lot cheaper. Let me introduce you to the story of the 13 going on 30 dress. So we're going all the way back to 2020 for this one. I know that you've probably blocked that entire year like out of your mind, but bear with me on this one. This dress, inspired by the film 13 Going on 30, was produced by a designer called Wanda Kobar and sold on Etsy for over £300, and it went viral, and basically CIDER stole the design and started selling it, or a version of it, on their own site for $18. Now you can guess which option cash-strapped Gen Z are more likely to opt for. Lydia Bolton is another designer that they completely ripped off. She makes designs that are limited edition, reusing lots of materials. So in this particular instance, she'd made a jacket out of a tablecloth and she got a lot of publicity for it, and CIDER saw it and ripped off her design. And then when she complained to them, they said that they can't take any allegations of plagiarism seriously unless that design has been trademarked, and Lydia hadn't trademarked it because it was this one-off limited edition design. When she was interviewed for the tab, Lydia said, "The funny thing is that I thought to myself, maybe I could do a similar print and step aside from my normal ways of practice and print some on organic cotton. But then I thought, actually, I'm only going to do that to make money. I'm not doing that for like the core brand value, which is sustainability and reducing waste." So she didn't do it. And it's not just stealing designs, actually. There's cultural appropriation going on too. CIDER received some comments from a customer about how they were culturally appropriating Chinese culture with some of their designs, and CIDER thought it would be a good idea to take that comment and share a public response on their Instagram. CIDER responded by saying that these designs were an homage to Chinese culture. They were designed by one of their in-house designers who is Chinese, and they ended this post by saying that they want to celebrate togetherness and they are a culturally diverse team. They are saying, let's all embrace cultural appreciation, not appropriation. But the comments under the post were saying that people will miss the point and they will still wear this in a way that is cultural appropriation. So someone said, people who are not Chinese wear this in a sexualized, costumey and fetishizing way, which is cultural appropriation. So basically they take popular designs regardless of any sensitivity to the people or the cultures that they belong to, and then make them on much cheaper materials that are much worse for the environment and sell them for much cheaper and make a lot more profit off them. And here we are, we've taken a tour of the orchards and found that all of the apple trees are positively rotten, and there's like litter everywhere. It's not a nice scene. But you know what? At least cider wasn't another one of these boring fast fashion brands that are just selling polyester tat with no regard for people and the planet. I mean, they are selling polyester tat with no regard for people and the planet, but at least there was a bit of a scandal thrown in there with the biodegradable packaging, and also a bit of spiciness with the ripping off independent designers. So this was quite an interesting one to research. I mean, Boohoo by comparison was like pretty boring, but if you want to check out my video on Boohoo, then check it out right here. Bottom line is, do not give them your money. Go elsewhere. Buy a pint of Thatcher's. What brand should I investigate next? Shout out to my friend Jen for recommending this one, so be more like Jen and leave it in the comments which brands you want me to review. Any that you're unsure about, are they sustainable, are they ethical, or are they just greenwashing me? Let me get you those answers. If you enjoyed this video, then please do hit the like and the subscribe button. It would mean so much to me. I spend a lot of time working on this just so that you can have all this information and make the kindest and the most sustainable choices possible. Until next time, stay kind, see you later, bye!